Looks like YouTube is going to force me to go live right now. Let me test my audio. Using my phone because I really ain't trying to do the most. Sound like it's working. And good, nobody's in the room. I'm live by myself, which is good because I kind of really just wanted to come in and record. Uh-oh. Struggle streaming already. Shout out to lead attorney. I actually need to go and finish his course on live streaming. Speaking of live streamer or live streaming, your girl is not a live streamer, so this is gonna be a little rocky. I kind of just wanted to sit down, have a chit chat, and talk to y'all. It's been a while. It's been a while since I posted a video or uploaded anything. I usually don't do this without a script, so work with me. Script. Speaking of script, I'm still going to use my bullet points. So if you see me kind of looking at my screen, I'm trying to stay on tasks for y'all. Look at my new merch. Not so much merch, just testing out some different designs. Let me see if I can flip this mirror. Doesn't look like it. So I'm just testing out some new designs on the shop. I was with WordPress for a while. I went ahead and switched over to Shopify. That way I can upload my blogs and kind of just think everything from there, including some merch, but I'm not really promoting it. Again, I'm just testing out some different variations. Says nurse practitioner. It's got some polka dots on my shirt here on the nurse part, and of course my logo. I did have my logo practitioner for a while. I had my logo trademarked already, but I went ahead and trademarked the name because I see people have been using the name. It's catchy. It's a lot I want to do with the brand practitioner. So I'm going to kind of make this an umbrella business. Anyway, some of the things I have that I'm testing out. Here's one. Practitioner of Christ. My screen is flipped. I don't know how to work that. Hey y'all. I'm not a live streamer. I really just want to come in and touch bases with my core followers and just get out of my comfort zone a bit. But here's another variation. And if you're just getting in, again, I'm just testing out some different patterns, fabrics. This one is my logo. It's threaded practitioner, the stethoscope, black, and this one here. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for just stopping in. Again, I'm not a live streamer, so it's gonna be a rocky road. Anyway, where have I been? I'm a perfectionist, so the main reason I don't like to come and record, or I haven't been recording this because I haven't had the energy. I've been burnt out and I haven't had the motivation. When I record, I'm like an artist. I liked for everything to be, clean and pretty and all the bells and whistles, T's dotted, I's dotted, T's crossed, and it's not good for business. I'm definitely a thinker. I'm more of a thinker, and this year in 2026, I want to be more of a doer. So that's kind of what I'm moving into right now. Just trying to get used to this whole live setting I don't know if I'll be doing lives as much, but instead of trying to put a video together, edit it, and get it out, and say, let me just do a live. Um, I got to get more in that doer mode. Uh, so yeah, that was the main reason I wanted to come in and just sit with y'all. So what's been good, man? It's been a lot. It's been a lot that has occurred in the last year or two. Um, I'll start off with school. So many of y'all who have been on my journey know I graduated with my DNP, my doctorates in nurse midwifery, 2 years ago. And I've been studying for my board exams. Haven't passed. Haven't passed this more recent exam. I'll get into it later, but it's been a lot. I'm a nurse practitioner. Nurse practitioner, family nurse practitioner, and a nurse midwife. I went back to school because mainly I wanted to specialize in nursing. I wanted to become a master at my craft. I love women's health. I love talking about all things women's health. So I kind of wanted to find my niche, and women's health was definitely the niche. They say there's riches and niches. So um, I've been working on that. But a lot of it has just been, I'm burnt out. I've been in school since a jit. Since a kid, I was always in school. Like I volunteered to go to summer school. I actually cried to go to summer school. So I don't know what it's like to not be learning. Like I'm a lifelong learner. I love learning. I love researching, and not necessarily doing it for the money. So even with this business, this practitioner, this channel, a lot of my motivation is hard to keep because I'm not doing it for the money. Um, and I record when I'm inspired. So unfortunately, I don't make a lot of videos. But also besides that, being in school, studying for board exams, I really didn't have a lot of the time to put into YouTube. So that was another thing I realized. I just didn't have the time, the motivation. And also I'm a mother. My daughter, she is just turned 15 this year. She is a sophomore in high school. And for me, when I'm in mom mode, it's really hard for me to get outside of mom mode and go into creator mode. Um, but the older she gets, it is easier. I do find that I have more time to focus now on where it is that I want to go. Um, I'm hesitant to say career because I'm not really chasing a career per se, not the boss babe, not in that way. Um, but I do have more time for myself. I do have more time to create and put more effort into building this brand on YouTube, building a business. I am a creator. I'm an inventive. I have a lot of ideas, um, a lot of interests, a lot of hobbies, a lot of things that I'm interested in. But it's like I said, school has been a distraction. So, and I think it's rigged to set up that way for us to be kind of distracted from, our true calling, right? Um, 2024 in September, I did start a job working as a midwife in a private practice. So I was working for a couple of months right after I graduated. I went into private practice with one OBGYN and one other midwife. So it was three of us. It was a team of three. Um, I took that job with the intention on taking my boards, passing my boards, and starting to work. Now, I think that's that's the first mistake that I made. For anybody who is following a path in medicine and for a nurse practitioner, if you're trying to become a nurse practitioner or you are wanting to go into your work right after graduating, I don't necessarily suggest that I don't suggest that you go in and work full time before passing your boards, especially in a busy practice. My practice was very busy. I actually got no training. So day one, I hit the ground running. And by the end of like the third or fourth week, I was already up to what, 15, 16 patients, and trying to study while also being in school. I'm sorry, trying to study while also working full time in a private practice. It was a lot, and it was a lot of pressure, unnecessary pressure that I put on myself. Um, Already having K-pop, I don't know who's K-pop. Already having test anxiety and ADHD, like already being in a situation where school in general or testing in general is difficult for a neurodivergent like myself. Adding work on top of that wasn't the best idea. Anyways, I wasn't there very long. Left that job. I'll have to make a different video on that. I did end up working in another women's health clinic as a nurse practitioner. So not only was I an NP, I was also working as a nurse manager, kind of like wearing two hats on that job. That lasted a month. Your girl is not good at managing other people. That is not something that I probably would ever do again. I'm not a manager. I don't like telling grown folk what to do. It's just not my thing, right? So I lasted there for a month. And when I left there, that's when I actually crashed. That's when the burnout happened. After years of being in school, um, clinicals, working clinicals, mom, being a mom full time, single mother at that, it was just a lot. And to get into a setting where I went from working per diem to working 5 days a week in that type of setting was just too much. And when I say I crashed, um, I'll talk about more later on my mental health, but it really was not. I learned real quick what type of environment that I thrive in and that I probably will never try again. So, since I left that job working as an NP and working both as an NP and managing the clinic, managing the staff, the medical assistants, and nursing. Um, I knew I still wanted to work in women's health, but I wasn't exactly sure in what capacity. Um, Let me see. I took some notes because your girl can ramble. Yeah, so during that time, I kind of just, when I say I crashed, I really just had no motivation to study again for the boards. I wasn't wanting to work 9 to 5, 5 days a week. Not only was it a busy practice, but also the way medicine is set up, the way healthcare is set up, it's numbers based. And my managers were pretty clear about, getting the numbers and hitting a goal. Basically, it was about the money. And as someone who likes to kind of take my time and to really pour into my patients and really try to get to the root of things, I don't do well in a rushed setting where you're just a number and it's a numbers game. I don't do well in those settings because if anybody knows me, they know that for me, context is so important. when you don't have certain information, how do you come to a conclusion, right? How do you, thank you, I appreciate that, Speed. How do you like have someone come into the clinic about something they've been dealing with their whole life, and you're not sitting, at least, listen, not have the time to really go through their history and really get to the root of why they are there. To me, it's oh man, I'm gonna keep a lot of that to myself, because I do still respect the system. I respect the hierarchy. I respect what, healthcare is set up to do. I'm just not good at playing the game. I'll say that. I'm not good at the hierarchy, the social hierarchy, and the social expectations. I just play a different game, right? So it's really hard for someone like myself to thrive in an environment that is not really set up for one, neurodivergence, and I'll get to that, but also it's not, patients aren't first. The bottom line is first. And it's just what it is. It is what it is. So yeah, while I was making great money, the most I've made ever in my career, I knew within a very short amount of time that I wasn't going to be there long. So again, that didn't last. So I took some time off. I did absolutely nothing. I am a service disabled veteran, so I am blessed to be able to kind of pursue, you know, my passions, and I recognize that everybody don't have that luxury. But I just took some time off. I took some time to really just not think about board exams, completing labs and calling patients on the weekend, and the Houston traffic, rush hour. It wasn't fun. I did not enjoy it. Fast forward to today, I'm still trying to really figure out what it is that, what's that setup? What is it going to look like? I have some ideas, but I know for sure what won't work. I'll leave it at that. So I've just been working as a per diem nurse in labor and delivery, and just been taking per diem, basically work when I want to work as a nurse, but the pay is not good at all. I just finished a contract as a pre-op nurse. It was decent, about $85 an hour, about 7 hours a day, 3 days a week. It was decent money, but you don't really come across those type of contracts very often. So while it was good, it was temporary. It wasn't home. It's not what I put all these years in school to do, right? Let's see. Nope, didn't know that. There's a microstate in the United States that's not Malaysia. Nah, you ain't gonna even lie. I ain't got the answers, way. And I'm definitely not opposed to letting you know when I don't have the answer. I think that's why I didn't last long on my job as a midwife, is because I'm not good at faking it till I make it either. I'll let you know when I don't know. But anyways, I kind of wanted to get on here. The main reason I wanted to make this video is because I wanted to also discuss mental health and my burnout, and why I kind of just stepped away from it all. I know for sure that I am a what you call a recovering dismissive avoidant. Um, Basically, how do I want to say it? I'm leaning more secure, but I am more of a dismissive avoidant. I'm very much introverted and I prefer to be, you know, to myself and doing my own thing. There's times where I feel like I am more on the antisocial side. I like people, but in small doses. Like I'm easily overwhelmed by too much contact with others, right? So, I'm getting off topic. I am leaning more secure, but I am a recovering dismissive avoidant. Definitely very introverted. Um, Again, borderline antisocial. I am an INTJ. I don't know if you guys know what Myers-Briggs. If you have any idea what Myers-Briggs is, I am one who likes to be in the background, sort of speak. I'm more of the creative, the inventor, the one behind the scenes. That's where I prefer to be, doing the research, doing the, I don't know, doing the research and pretty much, oh, I'm going to talk about that bad advice. That's kind of what I'm getting to. Interesting. So yeah, I'm very much introverted and I would say an inventive. Like I said, I have a lot of ideas, a lot of things that I want to invent, create, um, build. But being out in front and front facing is hard for me, which is why I kind of came to this YouTube live to get out of my comfort zone and get comfortable um, doing more. Get more comfortable with the doing instead of the thinker, because I'm very much a thinker. Um, you're bum. Yeah, I've been on YouTube so much. I've been in the YouTube streets so much and kind of part of the red pill community for so long that, certain things really just don't get to me at this point. I think I'm built for it. Bum, I'll take it. I'll take it. So recently I asked who was that asked me or spoke about it, bad advice. You made a comment about BPD, and that's something that I wanted to talk about. Um, I recently asked my psychiatrist. So I do have ADHD. I am medicated. Started out on Adderall. Now taking Vyvanse for my ADHD. And like I said, I am a disabled veteran. Some of my history includes trauma. Some of my history includes some very, dark and troubling situations. I smile about it now because I talked about it so much. I've told my story so much that at this point it doesn't trigger me like it usually would. So speaking of triggers, for anyone who does struggle with PTSD or have any struggles with mental health, I do want to kind of, I guess give a disclaimer or warning about me touching on those sensitive topics. So yeah, I have a psychiatrist, and I recently asked my psychiatrist if he wouldn't mind me testing for BPD. Not that BPD, not bipolar, but the other, which is borderline personality disorder. Um, a lot of my core wounds or my core struggles in life um, aligned with BPD, which is what made me ask for psych testing. Um, for example, like I mentioned earlier, being an avoidant, a dismissive avoidant, being more on the fear of abandonment or easily to detach and kind of go in self-protect mode. And, a lot of those things are traits that I realized were borderline personality, which made me ask for the testing because I feel as though a lot of my struggles aligned. I guess that's the best way to put it. Anyway, um, I really wanted to get to the root of why I was the way I was. Why do I feel so misunderstood? Why do I feel so different from most of the people that I interact with on a day to day? And in general, I'm a person that just likes to grow. I'm a person that reads a lot of self-help books. I research a lot. I'm the type of person that don't like to cry over spilled milk. So if there's an issue, I want to get to the root of the issue and fix the issue. I rather intellectualize my emotions. I'm not a very emotional person outwardly, meaning I'm not quick to go to emotions first. I'm more logical based. Um, so if I feel like there's an issue, I easily, just as, just as much feel like there's a solution. So me asking for a psych evaluation or me asking for my doctor to send me to get psych testing, it was because I felt like my way of living was not quote unquote normal, meaning me being hypervigilant or me being very sensitive to my environment, me being very sensitive to the energy of others and being such a huge empath and taking on so much or absorbing so much of others' energy, I felt like it was not normal. Why don't others, kind of pick up on the same clues? Why can't others see what I see? And what reminded me of that was, um, let me see, I'm not sure if you're reading this. I like it. I like it. Um, I was watching the show Love is Blind, and Edmund really stood out to me. There was so much about Edmund that I felt that I could relate to and that I understood on a level that many people didn't pick up on. Um, like I said, I'd be on in these YouTube streets. I watch and I consume way too much YouTube. Um, you may see me in the comments every now and then somewhere on somebody's channel. But I remember commenting so much about Edmund. It's like, y'all not getting it. Y'all don't understand. Like, this guy, I don't think he's being malicious, or I don't think this guy is really, trying to manipulate this girl. I don't think he's acting when he's emotional and easily triggered and crying at the drop of a dime. I think there's more going on. So, as I'm waiting for my exam or my psych testing, as I'm waiting to be tested for BPD, borderline personality, I researched and came across information on autism. And I guess for the first time, I saw a different possibility. I'll say that the more I researched about autism, the more I learned about how a lot of the symptoms overlap, or a lot of the experiences, a lot of the behaviors, of ASD overlaps with borderline personality. And for the first time, I felt seen. I felt understood. I felt like I finally had an answer. I felt as though I finally understood why life has been so fucking hard for me. um, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. Shit. Oof. When I was reading up and studying on autism spectrum, for starters, I'm a Black girl, if you didn't notice. Born in the hood and raised in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. By statistics, I'm not supposed to be who I am and where I am today. I shouldn't have the level of mental health and the level of sanity that I do now, based on a lot of my upbringing. But when we think about autism, when we think about ASD, it doesn't look like me. It doesn't look like a lot of women. In fact, we think of autism as these nonverbal little white boys who either, again, are nonverbal or just not, who have behavioral issues. That's kind of what comes to mind. Even with all these years of school, even with me going through nursing school, getting my doctorates in nursing, I still didn't, think it'd be possible that I'd be on the spectrum. Anyway, I did want to kind of read some of the similarities. Like when I mentioned that I can be, hypervigilant, or have this fear of abandonment, or being very empathetic and easily able to tap into others' emotions and know what they're thinking. For most providers, they would call that, again, hypervigilance, but they would more likely diagnose me as borderline, which is, again, what I thought I was struggling with. But the differences are, for example, social struggles is very common in both autism and BPD. In BPD, it looks like, again, hypervigilance, fear of rejection, having unstable relationship patterns, all the things that I struggled with. I struggled to have friends that I felt like understood me or that I could relate to. Sensitive to rejection. Now, a lot of it can be also tied back to trauma. I do have a history of trauma, and trauma is, very common in both BPD and autism. So it's not uncommon for a person to have trauma and also be autistic, or have trauma and also struggle with BPD. But the difference in autism or ADHD with those social struggles, a lot of it is missing cues, masking, literal thinking or literal processing, and sensory strain, which have been something very, something that I've been dealing with a lot, which is why I didn't last long on my last job. Um, Masking, for example, I usually I can be, go into a situation and have a good time. Um, Usually any type of environment, I can kind of shapeshift, right? I can mask, and it's easy for me to give others what they want because people are predictable, right? It's easy to kind of pick up on the energy of others and and kind of mirror back to them. Some can see that and think it's manipulative, but for a person who did grow up in a trauma-ridden environment, for a person who grew up having to predict what their caretakers or what others um, were thinking to stay safe, no wonder you are hypervigilant. You do have a level of ESP or able to pick up on certain things that other people won't, and it's training. Um, the trauma brain can really train a person to be in that fight or flight, right? So it's not either or. It can be either or, and it can be autism, PTSD, or trauma, or it can be both, right? And it's hard for me to kind of know which came first. With that being said, some other similarities, for example, would be big emotions and meltdowns. So for me, first let me read. In a person that has BPD, um, big emotions or meltdowns can look like shame spirals, again, fear of abandonment, uh, insecure attachment styles like dismissive avoidant or fearful avoidant. But in autism, it can also look like overload, frustration, meltdowns, crying. Think of Edmund on this show. It's like, I'm too nice, right? And you saw so much of that in Edmund, and I'm not laughing at him. Anyway, you saw a lot of that with Edmund, a lot of him having a lot of emotional shutdowns. And while he hasn't, gone on to claim, or not that to my knowledge, he doesn't publicly claim that he has autism or that he is on the spectrum, but you do see that kind of arrested development. You do see him struggling with his emotions. You do see um, what looks like him spiraling, right? And it's kind of hard to tell which is which. And I think a lot of it, a good psychiatrist will be able to pick up on it because it's the motivation behind it. For me, my recent burnout happened after working in an environment where I just didn't have the support. I wasn't in a place that, first off, I didn't know what it was that I was dealing with. I just knew that I was there to do a job, and I show up to do the job. So I didn't know what accommodations, I didn't know what type of, support that I need or accommodations that I may need in order to be successful at that job, right? For me, it looked like less social interaction, coming home, not wanting to talk on the phone, not wanting to really hang out with others, not wanting to plan anything on the weekends because I'm burnt out. I'm exhausted. I really have like zero energy, zero social battery from the day, and that's another thing. It's the amount of time it takes for you to recoup, and the amount of isolation that has to take place in order for someone like myself to kind of come back and have something to offer. So it looks like antisocial. It looks like depression. It looks like you're flaky. You make plans and then you cancel. But what others don't see is how much energy that's required for you to actually show up and live in a world that's not necessarily created for you. And a lot of people really won't understand that at a fundamental level. A lot of people won't be able to relate to those struggles. And for me, it's been a constant battle. My whole life is just feeling misunderstood, feeling like you don't get me. You're not taking the time to learn me. Why don't you want to go deep? Why don't you want to explore, certain topics? Why can't we talk about certain things? Why does it have to be so surface level? But I think as I'm learning more about ASD and learning more about possibly being on the spectrum, I did come across some information to kind of help me bridge the gap. One term that I recently learned was double empathy. So, with double empathy, it's basically explaining that my worldview is fundamentally different from yours. The way you think, your level of cognition, just the way you view life, your worldview is different from mine, and I probably will never see it the way that you see it, and that's okay. The part that's not okay is the amount of people that go on in this world thinking that they have all the answers and their way is the one way and only way. That's the issue that I have with a lot of people. And that's why I don't have a lot of friends. That's why I won't say can't keep, that's why I don't keep a lot of people close to me. It's because I provide a certain level of care and empathy. I provide a certain level of concern. Um, I really take pride in the context. I take pride in getting to know the why. What makes you tick? Why do you do things the way you do them? Why are you the way you are? And most people don't have that same regard for you. And I can do without it because I have, listen, I can, as an introvert, I have a lot of fun at home doing the things that I enjoy inside my home. Um, that's another topic for another day. What I'm getting at is most people don't show up in the world the way that I do, and that's okay. Um, it took a while for me to learn that. It took a while for me to learn that I can't expect truth and honesty out of everybody that I meet. I can't expect everybody to want to go deep and dive deep on subjects with me. I'm the type of person that never understood why do I have to have a certain friend for every category, like the fun friend, the travel friend, the turn up friend, the museum friend. Why can't I be the same person with everybody in my life? Why do I have to adjust myself and wear this mask for every individual. I had so much struggle with that, and it wasn't until recently that I just learned that just that's just the way it is. Most humans are, they live a social hierarchy and they live a life that requires them to adapt in those ways, and it's not uncomfortable for them. It's very uncomfortable for me to be inauthentic and not be able to show up and be myself. It doesn't feel authentic. Even the social niceties, like how you doing? Have a good day. Things like that. It's like, do you really mean it? I get it. I understand it, but when I say I'm gonna pray for you, am I really gonna pray for you? So it's like I don't really care for hierarchies in the social realm or the corporate realm, and I don't care for social to fit social norms. But I respect those who do. I respect that the small talk and the things that my friends need, I respect it. I don't have the same needs, but if I don't want to be alone and to myself, and I don't want to be lonely, which I never use the word lonely or bored because I'm neither. It's very rare that I'm lonely or bored. But if I don't want to be, if I don't want to have community, then I don't respect those things. I don't care for them, right? But I do want friendships. I do want to be in relation with others. I do want, to have, again, that community. So I do what others need in order for us to have, I guess, that the harmony, right? The point that I was making with that, to kind of put a bow on it, is that learning what double empathy was, it was just me learning that I will never see life the way you see it. I can empathize. I can even sympathize with you, but me and you are not the same, and that's okay. I just wish more people had that awareness that you ain't got the answer, Sway. You don't have the end all be all. The buck don't stop with you. But I enjoy having conversation and dialogue with others who you're not making any sense. See, you missed the whole point just now. I don't have to make sense. I don't have to speak the same language as you. Me and you don't have to be on the same page. You don't even have to be in the same room. You can exit stage left and it's okay, right? Thank you for helping me land that plane, by the way. So yeah, fast forward to December. So December, I did go ahead and have that full psych testing done. Still waiting on my results. But I kind of wanted to just share with y'all some of, unpack a bit, kind of go over why it is that I felt that maybe I was dealing with BPD, and now it's like, no, I don't have BPD. I'm not antisocial. I'm just not with the bullshit. I just can't fake it till I make it. I prefer to have relationships that are of substance, and not just to, have this social hierarchy. I don't care to fall in line in that way. But while I don't have the diagnosis of ASD, I know for sure that I'm on the spectrum. I know for sure that a lot of my issues, sensitivities, tie back to, my experiences in life. And It's made me who I am and why I am the way I am. But I also know that I went through some things as a kid. I had some trauma. I got work. I had work. I had therapy. You know, um, I'm still seeking to become a better person. I'm still seeking to become my greatest version. And I'm a lifelong learner, so I'm always gonna be, putting one foot in front of the other. Um, yeah, so a lot of people who's been following my journey, um, a lot of you, the women came for the women health content, which I still plan on putting out on this channel. And because I do have, like I said, many facets of who I am, I do enjoy so many things. I'm an inventor. There's things, research that I want to do. Um, there's there's illnesses that I feel like I have the answer for, and I'm also a creative. I enjoy creating, dancing, YouTube, putting my thoughts out there, poetry, rap, all the things. But I recognize that the YouTube algorithm, don't really care for me to jumble all those things up. So I plan on making a separate channel. I'll link it once it's up and running. But this channel will remain a women's health channel. It will remain a place where women can come and, find out more about their body and yeah, I'll leave it at that. So that's where I've been, waiting on the results of my testing. I actually recently appealed the board exam. I told you I didn't pass this last round, and a lot of it was not having the proper accommodations in place, not recognizing some of my struggles, feeling as though not understanding that I likely will never be starting from, the starting line with others without some sort of accommodations, or it'll never be easy for me to do life the way a neurotypical person would. I accept and I embrace that I do have a neurodiverse brain. Um, a lot of my ideas and opinions aren't traditional. I recognize that because I am logic first and I'm not a very emotional person, and that I question things, I question societal norms, I question religion, I question, whenever I got a question, I ask a question. And I realize how that can come off as me being combative, masculine, not fit, not friendly, all the things they say women should be. I recognize that who I am don't fit into society's definition of a traditional woman. Um, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I really don't. I enjoy being my weird dingy self, and I look forward to kind of bringing some of that over on this channel as well, because a lot of issues a neurodivergent woman deal with, especially when it comes to medicine or psychology or mental health, is often overlooked, underdiagnosed, or overdiagnosed. So I will be bringing into this channel also some psychological or psychology videos. Yeah, I really don't have any boxes that I'm putting myself in. Really, I just wanted to come in, get comfortable doing some live videos because I plan to do more of those and kind of just chit chat and let y'all know where I've been. I'll be uploading a lot more videos in the near future. And once I do start that channel, where I discuss other things, such as recently, I was on a panel with a group of like 4 other INTJ women, and we kind of just went over what it's like to be an INTJ. It's a Myers-Briggs system. Very good talk. I was the only Black female on the panel, and it didn't feel like it wasn't about race. It was about our struggles, our difficulties. Again, living in a world where the norm is opposite. The world is not made for you. So I enjoy those sorts of things. I like to describe myself as a nerd with a big booty, like a walking contradiction, meaning like you look at me and you think you know me, or you think you know the experience, you think you know what you're signing up for, but you just might be surprised. So stick around for that. I look forward to kind of connecting and growing the channel, growing a community. And why is the chat so rude? I mean, people do what humans do. I'm used to that. Like I said, I started consuming a lot of YouTube when Kevin Samuels kind of made his debut, and I've had the opportunity to be in some rooms, have some conversations, and grow some tough skin. So the chat don't bother me. And I realize a lot of them are bots. A lot of y'all walking around as bots too. But it's okay. I ain't mad at it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Appreciate y'all for tuning in.